several webinars during the course of the development of Firm Manager and as it went to beta, a demonstration of what was out there. But this is the first time we're giving a sneak peek at a webinar, and I'm really excited to be able to do it, and really, as I said, just overwhelmed with the response that we've had. So welcome to the webinar. I hope that you'll find that it's been worthwhile. At the end, I just will remind you, I'll remind you again at the end, but there will be a survey at the end. It's a very brief survey, but it helps us to understand the value that you find in this webinar, as well as what you see in Firm Manager. So please do take the time, just a couple of minutes at the end of the webinar to do that. Believe me, I will leave you time in the hour that we've booked for the webinar in order to be able to do the survey on that time, so you don't have to take extra time outside that period. I don't want to presume that everybody that has joined us is familiar with Firm Manager. So I'm going to spend the first 5 or so minutes, maybe 7 minutes, talking about Firm Manager, the application as it exists, before we get into the sneak preview, just so that we're all on the same page. I will remind you that this is a GoToWebinar, and if you do have questions, please feel free to enter your questions into the questions panel on the GoToWebinar control panel. And then Loretta and Kelly will see your questions and be able to read them to me. We will also open up at the end of this for a Stump the Product Manager or Ask the Expert series part of the webinar, and you'll have a chance to ask any other questions then. But feel free to enter questions into the question panel at any time. And without further ado, we'll get started. First of all, what is Firm Manager? And I think it bears just some remembering what the purpose is, who it's been built for, and why it exists. We built Firm Manager the first time several years ago, and we recently have completely rebuilt it from the ground up with an absolute focus on being the best solution for solos and to lawyer firms. No other application that I'm aware of, and I'm aware of a lot of them, has ever been built specifically with solos and duo law firms in mind. And with the rebuild of Firm Manager, we've even become more focused on that. And we know that we've been focused on that because that's who we've brought in to build it. From the very first sketches of Firm Manager, we have had solos and two lawyer firm lawyers come participate with us in reviewing our ideas, telling us how things should work, but even more importantly, then using our prototypes and allowing us to watch how they use them so we understand where they had problems and where they didn't, so that we can continue to make the software better. This software is what we call practice management software. It's software that allows you to stay on top of your practice, to run your law firm business by being able to focus on the things that are important and allow the software to help you minimize the amount of time you spend on the administrivia and other aspects of the work that are less likely to lead to income and to enhance your bottom line, as well as to better customer service. That being said, the front page of Firm Manager, when you first log into Firm Manager orients you to where you need to be and when you need to be there. In other words, all your appointments for today, tomorrow, and the week coming, your tasks that need to be done, and the recent activity that's been happening in the firm. I'm going to be going through this pretty quickly because most of you on the call have seen a lot of this already, but I just wanted to level set. If there are questions about what you see, please do hold on to them and type them in the question pane. We will come back, and I'll be glad to cover anything that I've gone over really quickly. But so you start your day with the dashboard, and it allows you to, again, orient you to your day, as well as you can see this pane here, which is one of the parts of Firm Manager that is still to be built, but this unbilled activities that will be capturing the work that you've done that you haven't yet billed for. Then once you get to work, you might open a matter and work on matters. You can see all your matters by practice area on the matter page. You can add and remove practice areas, jump right to a matter, and then click on it to get into the specific matter. Inside the matter, you get to see the very succinct details about the matter, as well as a matter activity feed, which enables you to answer that very important question, what's going on in my case? That question that gets procrastinated and put off and leads to bar complaints for failure to return phone calls. The matter also shows you all the information about the matter in one place. So you don't have to click around Firm Manager to find your contacts, your other matters associated with your documents, your events, your tasks, everything that has to do with a specific matter on one page, easily clicked on and easily followed up on. Attaching records or adding things to firm manager is also exceedingly simple. For documents, for instance, you just drag and drop them into the matter, and they are automatically coded to the matter. You can add codes for document type, as well as metadata and tags, just so that people understand that might be looking for the document later through our powerful search engine, how to get to them. But it's really, really easy to add. And I already talked about the activity feed, but it can't be emphasized that how this gives you 360-degree visibility into a matter, no matter where you are and no matter who worked on it. So whether it's your work or your colleagues' work or your assistant's work that's been done, and no matter if you're at your office or on your iPad, at the beach, you have this at your fingertips. So when the client calls, you can return that call or take that call and sound like you actually know what's going on in your client's cases, which I understand is not always the case. Notes in the matter also help you to establish an institutional or firm-wide memory of what's been going on in your cases, so that you know what's been going on, and anybody else that looks on it can see and get that read into a matter really, really quickly without you having to share this in a more slow or arcane method. Really, really powerful conflict of interest search, and again, I could spend a half hour just on this, but let me just simply say that this brings conflict of interest searching to solo and small law firms that has previously only been available in medium and larger sized firms. It gives you not only the ability to search against all the information you put into Firm Manager, as well as all the text, the full text of every document you've ever entered into Firm Manager, but then to save the search so that a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, when your conflict of interest search has been challenged, the people that your ability to defend your conflict of interest search exists on the way and the results that you got the moment you did the search, not on what you know now. So you can defend a conflict of interest search based on the knowledge you had at the time you ran the search. Really, really powerful capability and unique in the industry. You're also, of course, and this is where it's kind of going to lead into what we're about to talk about, you've been able in Firm Manager to capture time and expense throughout and been able to capture this in each matter so that you can track your time and expenses in every single matter. But what's new is the ability to actually send those invoices and to deal with trust accounting, and we'll be getting to that here in just a minute. Calendars in Firm Manager, sorry about that. Calendars in Firm Manager work the way that you expect calendars to work. Pretty soon coming, and it's one of the things we're going to be talking about in the sneak preview, is coming very soon is the integration of this with the calendars that you already use, either on your iPhone or on your desktop, and we'll be integrating with those as well as with contacts. And then finally, tasks. Firm Manager has a really powerful task management capability, which allows you to keep track of not only your tasks that you do, but everybody's tasks in the firm. It allows you to be able to predict into the future when you might have time crunches coming through our estimated time to completion. It tracks it by due date, but also by priority, to give you, again, this really powerful capability to organize your work and the work of your colleagues and assistants such that you can drive your tasks to completion and predict crunches and ask for deadline extensions, et cetera, whenever they might show up. Or, since you can see these things days and days ahead of time, reorganize the work so that you don't have those time crunches coming. Documents, I talked a little bit about how you can add them really easily. Just wanted to also discuss that you can get to them really easily as well, not just through the matter, but through the entire documents grid listing, so you can see all your documents, but also through our very, very powerful search engine that searches everything in Firm Manager, every bit of information you've ever put in, as well as full text of every document. You can search through the global search and get to that information easily and simply. So we've had the time and expense. You've been able to enter your time and track your time. You've been able to enter and track your expenses. We released in the middle of October the ability to generate invoices from that time. And this is just the first part of billing that we released, but it's a part of the way that we demonstrate the way that we develop. We develop features and release them as soon as they're usable, so that not only do we get the feedback of the lawyers who come in and talk with us directly, but then we can get the feedback of all of you as to how that particular feature or part of a feature is working, so that as we develop all the rest of the feature, we can take your feedback into account right away and not wait for some future release of the software. Really, really powerful way to recycle your feedback very, very quickly. And in fact, the feedback that we'll be getting on invoicing is going into trust accounting, which we're releasing in just a couple more weeks. So just about 6 weeks after we released invoicing, here comes trust accounting, and it's one of the things that we're going to take a sneak preview of today. Trust accounting is, as everybody on the call knows, a really important part of managing a law firm well. It helps you to keep your accounts receivables low. It helps you identify what clients have the deposits with you in order to be able to work on their cases. But managing it well is absolutely essential, and it can be a serious trip fall for a lot of law firms if they're not managed well. Firm Manager gives you the ability not only to take and track trust dollars in every single matter, but to disperse and balance and reconcile those trust accounts, both with your bank account by firm as well as by every single matter. So you can see exactly where you are and report to your clients where you are with their trust money, whether it's money on retainer or money that you're holding for them. And as I said, that's our second installment of billing capability coming out in just a couple of weeks, and we're going to take a look at it in an actual demo here in just a moment. And then coming soon is accounts receivable, WIP, and more as we complete the billing part of the application in the earliest part of next year. So that being said, let's go to the demo. We're now in actual Firm Manager, and we're on what we call our QA environment because this is all not released software. So this might be a little bit slower than actual Firm Manager, and some things work and some things don't work. But I wanted to be a part of doing a sneak preview is giving you the capability to see how things are working with these new parts of the software. So let's talk about trust accounting first. So in a given matter, you can see now we've got this new widget over here on the right that just tells you that the current balance in this matter is $5,000. You can view the trust account by clicking on the link, and that brings you over to the trust account for this particular matter. Now, if I take the filter and I remove all the filters real quick, we can see the total trust activity for the firm. We can see, in fact, there's two matters that we've taken trust money on, the general business account and this transactional account for this particular client. I've just put these two in. It could be a lot more. I can see when there was a credit, and we can see what the balance is. I can, of course, filter that by a particular matter and thereby have an accounting for just this single matter, again, with all the activity. We're going to do some trust accounting now, so you'll see how the activity builds out. So let's, in this particular matter, we're going to jump back here and look at the 4073 November acquisition. And we see the matter activity. There's some stuff that's been going on in the case. In the attached records, we've got some contacts, some documents have been added, and some time and expense has been added, which is great. So time and expense has been added to this matter, but I haven't yet generated an invoice. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go to Invoices, and we'll say that we're going to create an invoice, and we're going to do it for the 4073 November case. And we're going to grab up all time and expense. Now, when you generate an invoice, and again, I'm slowing down now because this is stuff that I really haven't demoed to you all very much yet. When you generate an invoice, you get all of it. I could have time boxed it and just taken stuff for a particular month, but I took everything, which all happens to be just recent time because I just entered it for the purposes of this demo. But if there's stuff that hasn't been entered yet, I can always add time and expense right now. So if there was a miscellaneous, bought some paper clips for this case, and they cost 45 cents, but I bought 100 of them. That'll be $45. I can add that, and then you can see we've got another expense entry on this matter. If I decide that one of the items is something I don't want to put on this invoice, but I want to have it on a future invoice, I can just remove it. I've removed it from the invoice. I haven't deleted it from my time and expense. And then when I'm done, I can either save it as a draft and come back to it. If I save an invoice as a draft, I can't take a payment against it, and anybody can still edit all of the time slips from anywhere in the system. Or I can save it as an invoice, and when I save it as an invoice, that then locks everything down. So this now has become an invoice. You can see it's unpaid, but if I go back and take a look at it, you can see this is an unpaid invoice. But now I cannot edit the time slips, and I cannot edit them from anywhere in Firm Manager, which is, of course, a good thing, because once you've sent an invoice, you don't want the time or expenses to be edited. You can always remove it from finished status, but only if there have been no payments applied. If there have been payments applied, then you have to remove the payment first. So let's say for this particular case, we're going to, first thing we're going to do is go back to trust, and we're going to disperse money. We're going to apply to the invoice from this trust account. So in the, and of course, I'm not going to remember. There we go. There's that invoice. I wasn't going to remember that, but you can look up the invoice. And I'm going to disperse from here $1,810. I'm going to disperse it from the trust, or I'm going to apply the payment from the trust account and save and close. So now, if I go back to the invoice, you can see that this is no longer an open invoice. And if I click Show Paid, there it is now there. And if I open it, you can see that it's been marked now as paid. And if I go to Trust Accounting, then you can see that in my Trust Accounting, I have a new transaction here, which is invoice payment. So I had the credit of $5,000. I've had the invoice payment, which has now reduced the balance to $41.90. If, again, I take us back further in time, I can see that across all matters, again, the balance for all cases is $41.90. However, if I just restrict it by 4073 November, then we see it's $31.90 because now we don't have the $1,000 general retainer in the general matter and only the trust for this particular case. I can disperse trust monies. I can refund trust monies. But basically, this is how it works. It creates this ledger that just grows and grows and grows as you build out and use the trust accounting feature. And again, if we go back to the invoices, we see that, in fact, that one has been paid. And if we look at the invoice itself, we'll see now here down in the payment history that this money has been paid from the trust account. Money can be paid in a variety of different ways. It could have been taken as a check, et cetera. I don't need to walk through all of those with you. I think you get the general idea of how trust accounting and invoicing is now working together and how you can reconcile your trust account based on the information that is provided in it. Hopefully, if there are any questions, please, again, remember that you can add them to the question pane, and we'll take those up right at the end. The other sneak preview that I wanted to give to you is about what we're doing right after trust accounting, and I'm really super excited about it. But as this is a super duper sneak preview, we have to go back to the slideshow because this isn't even built in the software yet. But this is how we do things, right? We literally draw it on paper first, and then we make these pretend screenshots to show to people and get your feedback on whether or not it works for you. And so, for instance, this is the accounts receivable dashboard. I'm going to show you 3 different ways we're thinking about it. And we're asking people if one of these 3 ways is the best or if they have another way that we haven't thought of yet. And that's how we've been developing the software. But let me just walk you through it. So in a particular, in your law firm, you can go to your dashboard here in the time and expense area or the billing area and see that you have 32 uninvoiced entries, so you've got a good amount of work in progress or WIP built up. You've got 7 invoices that are still in draft that need to be finished. Your accounts receivable is here, the invoices that are due and payable to you. Your unbilled activity, remember that unbilled activity where you can capture the activities and the work that you've done that you haven't yet billed for is presented in the dashboard as well. And you can also then just see by month how much you have that's been paid, how much is unpaid, and how much has become overdue based on the due dates that you've put on the invoice. It's a real powerful way to visualize your accounts receivable. And you could also visualize by your practice areas how much you've been billing. So you can see in this particular firm that personal injuries, the vast majority of stuff, family law, and criminal coming in close second, and then litigation bringing up the rear. And again, just a real quick way to be able to visualize the financial status of your firm. Another way to look at it is this. And again, this is just, these are different ideas of what the dashboard could look like. Or we could go with more than one, right? Or you could choose different widgets. But this one gives you an aging report to show you, how much your accounts are aging, because we all know that once invoices get over 90 days, they're much less likely to be collectible. You can view your invoices, how much you've invoiced by month, and you can do this by practice area, et cetera. It can be by different things. This is by practice area. It gives you just this visualization up here about exactly by the numbers where you stand. So these are the things that we're thinking about with the accounts receivable preview, with accounts receivable dashboard, I should say, that I wanted to give you all a sneak preview. This is what's going to be coming right after invoicing. I mean, right after trust accounting, which has come right after invoicing. And, I mean, it just keeps on coming. After that, we're going to be doing more about being able to take bills online. We're going to be doing more, getting more robust ability to email your invoices and to let clients see invoices even before they're done, and lots more features, which we're prioritizing, again, which ones come out first and which ones come out second based on, again, your feedback. The last thing I'd say, I don't have anything to show about this, but is to talk about the integration of calendars and contacts. So the Firm Manager Calendar feature, which we looked at together, is a really great calendar. It's built the way that lawyers expect calendars to work, and this is going to be integrated at first using the secure part of Google as the integration engine. To allow you to access your Firm Manager Calendar, add to it, and see it from anywhere using the tools that you already use, whether it be Outlook or your iPhone or Android device. And then we're going to follow up and do the same thing with contacts. Over time, we're going to be adding the direct native iCloud integration as well. But so just keep on making all the tools of Firm Manager usable where you use them, and so that you have one place to see everything about your firm and understand the way that it works. That is the sneak preview. That's the first part of this webinar that I wanted to be able to present to you. So I'm really happy to have worked through that with you. What I wanted to do before we go to the Stump the Product Manager is just remind you of a couple things. I'm going to remind you of them again at the end. But there are many ways to continue to learn more about what's coming up in Firm Manager. In fact, that's one of the additions that we're going to have is a new feature on the homepage saying what's new in Firm Manager. But you can always check our website at www.firmmanager.com. Our support team at the 800 number posted here is also really helpful and able to answer your questions both on what's in the product and what might be coming, as well as the community where we've been getting great support from our users in the community, both in making suggestions about how we can do things better, reactions of how things are that are there, and we find that so valuable. And also users help users there, which is really the most powerful part of the community. At the end of the presentation, we will email you a link to it, which you can share with your colleagues, and we hope that you do. And we hope that you'll join us again for a presentation of one of our newest features. And this isn't a sneak peek, but rather a feature that is being made available to you as a customer Firm Manager called Watchdocs. And Watchdocs allows you to securely share documents with others. And how this is different from every other document sharing platform that's out there is, one, it is secure. It was built for financial institutions and highly secure applications. But two, it also gives you the capability to control what happens with the documents even after you've sent them, even after they've been received. It gives you continuing control and trackability of the documents, and then that Watchdocs is truly unique. We'll be sending you a link to that presentation in the email as well, and I hope you'll join us. And again, reminder to please take the survey after the webinar is complete. So that being said, this is time for Stump the Product Manager. I hope that we've gotten some questions that will truly stump me. And ask Loretta and Kelly if they can assist in letting me know what questions have been generated and what we can do to help answer some things about Firm Manager.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. We do. We have a number of questions. So please remember, if you do want to ask questions, on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see a little window pane, and you just click on the questions and type it in. So we're going to try and get through as many of these as possible. The first question says, can I have two lawyers and an assistant accessing the same database?
Yes, great question. So Firm Manager, while it is built for solos and duos, we completely understand that even solo lawyers and certainly two-lawyer firms often hire staff, sometimes a lot. I've known single lawyer firms to hire 20 and in excess of 20 staff to work on particular kinds of cases. So Firm Manager does not have a limitation in the number of users that can use Firm Manager. There is a user license. It is $44.99 for the first user and $29.99 for every additional user. Once you have to pay, we have various promotions that change when that payment would start. But there is no limit to the number of users that can simultaneously access the database. You can have 40 people accessing it from 40 computers in 40 states or 40 countries around the world. It doesn't matter one bit. So that's
okay, great. Thank you, Chris. And the second question is, can the trust account entry track more than one kind of payment? For instance, if I have a retainer for expenses and a retainer amount for fees, can I note that?
At this time, and I've brought up okay, yeah, show the screen. At this time, we'll go to trust accounting here. We can take, we can deposit funds, and you can designate in the description what they are. You can see here I wrote retainer check, but there's not separate pools for expenses versus other things. We have workarounds or ways to manage that. Sometimes we suggest setting up an expense matter to handle that or something like that. That is a feature we are considering, is different trust account pools. But again, in our philosophy of development, we brought out trust accounting in its most basic form, and then how we build it out and make it more robust will be based on your comments. So again, these kinds of questions, we take them very seriously and we note them, and the features that people want the most are the ones that come out first.
Okay, and the one I have here is, I heard you say Google for syncing. What is the plan for other products like Office 365?
That is a great question. We are working very hard with Microsoft as well as to bring up iCloud in our roadmap as far as who we're going to sync with. But Office 365 is very much on our radar, and syncing not only with Office 365 Exchange, meaning the ability to sync contacts and calendar items with Exchange, but also with the Office products, with Word and Excel and PowerPoint, being able to save directly into Firm Manager from the Office 365 versions of those, all very much on our radar for the coming year. So thanks for that question. That's something we're looking really hard at.
Okay, and it said, is it possible to link, let me see here. Oh, here it is. Did I hear you say that you're going to have the ability to email invoices and statements in the future?
Absolutely. We are going to have the ability to email invoices in the future, in fact, in the near future. So right now, you can certainly do it because you can print an invoice to a PDF directly from the product and email that PDF depending on your operating system. On the Mac, it's a one-step process. But we're going to have it directly from the product. And not only are you going to be able to email the invoices, but your clients are going to be able to pay them as a result of that email as well.
Okay. Is Calendar and Contacts going to integrate with Outlook? You might have answered that, but maybe not directly.
Yeah. I have answered it, and indeed not directly, and kind of intentionally. It is our belief at this time that we are going to best serve our customers by not integrating directly with Outlook, but by integrating with things that integrate with Outlook. Because Outlook is a desktop software and Firm Manager is SaaS, or it's a software as a service or online web-based product, we believe that our customers will be more pleased with us integrating with other web-based products, some of which already integrate with Outlook. Listen, I don't know about y'all, but I already have about 12 plugins in my Outlook, and I think that's about enough. Adding a Firm Manager plugin would do little if you're already using one of your online-based calendar systems to integrate with your Outlook, and we believe that's where you are. If we believe wrongly, let us know. Again, our customers drive this product.
Yep, and we can do that up on the online community that I believe that he's provided you. If not, it's also inside the email that you received for the invitation, and the follow-up email will also include that as well. So, Chris, what encryption and other, well, see, more questions keep coming in, and it pops down my questions. That's why I kind of sound like what encryption and other security protection measures are embedded in Firm Manager?
I could spend hours answering that question, and obviously we don't have those hours. So we do discuss some of the security on our website at firmmanager.com, and I encourage people to take a look. But let me just put it simply. Everything in Firm Manager is encrypted and in transit, meaning from the minute it leaves your computer to arriving at our data centers, it is completely encrypted. And then at our data centers, it is also maintained in an encrypted format. so that nobody can just break into the data centers and see any data that would have any meaning whatsoever. So it's encrypted in transit, encrypted at rest using bank grade and encryption methodologies. I'm a lawyer, so forgive me if I don't get into into the highly technical details. Anybody that's interested in them, we will share them to some extent without compromising our security. But they're maintained in highly secure environments. Listen, we're LexisNexis. And that's one thing that we do have is a history of knowing what it takes to secure our clients' data. We've been hosting the data of the AmLaw, of many AmLaw 100 firms for over a decade now. Something we take very, very seriously. Everything we do with Firm Manager, everything we choose to do with the data of Firm Manager gets reviewed by our global architecture review to make sure that it is up to LexisNexis standards of security, and everything that we've done with Firm Manager is. We are submitting ourselves to third-party verification of this. With Trustee as the first one, we're also submitting ourselves to the replacement for SAS 70, which is SSAE 16, and other third parties to audit and verify that we're doing what we say we do with security.
Okay, and is it possible to import, it says all information from Abacus Law or Abacus Accounting?
It'll never be possible to import all information in a way that's useful. So, I mean, the short answer is yes, we can import all information, but there's not a place for all of it to go in Firm Manager. You may have some fields in Abacus that we don't have, for instance. But Firm Manager does have an import engine, and you're able to import stuff from a variety of applications as long as they'll export them. Right now, customers can't do this for themselves yet, but you can do it in one of two ways. You can either engage our customer support team at the 800 number that I will show again here just to be helpful, but also, or you can do it, there it is, by calling a local CIC, which is a certified independent consultant. We are currently certifying consultants from all over the country on Firm Manager, and there will be a web page that we'll be able to link to shortly from firmmanager.com where you'll be able to find them as well. But so one of those two sources to help you get your data imported.
Okay. Another question has to do with the invoicing. It says if you make a mistake and void an invoice, is the time still present in the system to recreate the invoice?
Great question. So let's take a look at that. When you go to invoices, and we'll look at the one that we just did, not the draft, but we'll go to show paid. Tell you what, we'll go to this draft one because I don't want to back out the payment just right now. So if we created this as an invoice now, this is just a draft invoice, right? So now we've made this as saved, and it's an unpaid invoice, and it's past due because I had a due date on it. And we decided there's something that we did that we didn't want to do. You can choose to either revert the invoice, which means to bring it back to a draft invoice. So you can edit it and then create an invoice again, or void the invoice. If you void the invoice, all the time and expenses on it go back into WIP. So it basically goes back into work in progress, from which you can create another invoice right away or whenever you choose to. So yeah, it does not delete the time or expenses. They just go back into the pool.
Great, thank you, Chris. And I think this next one will be able to get answered. I know you spent a little bit of time, but one of the questions is, will they be able to have access to something like to files via a portal?
Yeah, so that's, again, please do come December 5th to our introduction of Watchdocs. Watchdocs is an application that right now you get, we provide to you, we pay the bill for Watchdocs for you, and you get to use Watchdocs, which is a way to share your documents securely with others through a secure client portal. As time goes on, we're going to be bringing that functionality. We're going to be basically integrating Watchdocs directly into Firm Manager, so you'll be able to manage it from Firm Manager. But for the beginnings, you'll just be able to use Watchdocs separately from Firm Manager, but free of charge. And again, this is a tool that's only been available to like Citibank, Bank of America, really huge financial institutions. You can go to watchdocs.com to learn more about it. But on December 5th, the Business Development Vice President of Watchdocs is coming to join us for the webinar. It's going to give you a really good show.
Great, thank you, Chris. I have another one here. This guy says, I don't know about stumping you. He said, but he doesn't know how Firm Manager will work on the iPhone. He said that when he tried it before, it looked like it froze or something. So I thought maybe you can comment on how we access Firm Manager through mobile devices.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't demo it on here, but anybody that wants to register for Firm Manager can give it a go. What I can do is show you this. But before I show, I'll just tell. Firm Manager is designed from the get-go to understand different devices and to modify itself to work on them. The old Firm Manager had a separate application that worked on iPhones, and it didn't give you quite the experience that the new Firm Manager does. So if you're on an iPad, for instance, let me go to the home page. It's more clear on the home page. If you're on an iPad, and for instance, you just turn your iPad around, Firm Manager understands that, and instead of showing you a 4-grid, a 2x2, it has your four widgets on top of each other. Even the logo changed size. I don't know if you noticed that. Oops, I don't want to get rid of that. I don't know if you noticed that, but as I've made the window a different size, even the logo changes size so it'll fit. So on your iPhone, when you look at it on the iPhone, it adjusts itself, and I can't really give you that experience here, but you can see how the icons go away and stuff like that. It adjusts itself so that it works and gives you a usable experience on the iPhone, as well as on the iPad, as well as on an Android device, as well as on your laptop. But it works really well. I use it on the iPhone all the time. Obviously, there's some things that you don't want to be doing on the iPhone, like taking extensive notes. It's not what the iPhone was built for, but Firm Manager is certainly usable on the iPhone, iPad, and other devices.
And it's every feature. It's not just a minimal amount of the activity. So I know that was one thing that that we saw with some other applications that are out there, is that they're limited to what you can get access to, and you can get access to anything that you can get into access to on Firm Manager on your iPhone.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, Loretta. Absolutely, and that's what we've designed it as. So you want to enter some time, you want to generate an invoice, you want to enter a note. You can do anything. Some things lend themselves better than others, but you can do anything in Firm Manager.
Okay, another question is document downloading. Is it possible to download multiple documents in the same way that you upload?
No, you can only take down one document at a time. Now, that being said, I should say that a little bit more clearly. You can only click on one at a time. Now, you can go click, 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 and depending on your browser, you can download many, many, many at a time. But you do have to click on them one at a time. There hasn't been any real big demand yet for downloading a whole bunch of them. But if we heard that, we certainly could build that feature in. If one of the things though that we want to be real clear, if for some reason you want to not use Firm Manager anymore, you can always call our support team, and they will download all of your data, including all of your documents, for you in one big file that you can get.
Okay. Will you have document assembly, merged documents, fields that carry over from the initial case input?
Yes. So document assembly or document automation is a feature of Firm Manager that we are expecting to have during the course of next year.
Okay. Will Firm Manager have its own accounting system, or will it integrate with QuickBooks?
Right now, we're planning on integration with QuickBooks and possibly other online accounting systems. Whether or not we build accounting directly into Firm Manager depends on your feedback. Right now, I don't know that we will, but if the feedback is strong that we should, we will. As everybody on the call probably knows, LexisNexis, the software division that built Firm Manager, is the same software division that has PC Law and Jurist, two fantastic accounting systems for lawyers. So, we have that expertise. We're able to build an accounting system in Firm Manager if that's what folks want. But right now, we are going to integrate with QuickBooks as well as possibly some other online accounting systems.
Okay, and it looks like there's also, it says, will users be able to see, perhaps on a report for each of the clients, the following: trust fund balances, WIP and open balances. This way users can know whether or not they have to get more retainer from the clients.
Great question. So that's one of the things as we, I'm just trying to find the right slide. As we build out this accounts receivable dashboard, there's going to be multiple pages to this with various kinds of reports like that. And we are taking feedback from our clients right now and have been for a couple of months now as to which reports are the most crucial. And some of those that you just mentioned certainly are among them. But yeah, with the accounts receivable are the having this visibility into a client, so you can see that. Oh. We're going to both do that in reports as well as by using widgets like you saw here in the Matter, where you'll be able to see trust account balance and accounts receivable balance and stuff right in the Matter.
So Chris, perhaps then we can post the accounts receivable dashboard up on our community, and then we can ask people there to provide us with what types of things they'd like to see so that we can gather that information.
Yeah, our user interface experts will probably be doing that, as well as seeking feedback in a variety of different ways.
Okay, great. Thank you. Will we have the ability to remove the standard practice areas in the future? There's standard practice areas now, and then you can add them, but can you remove them?
Yeah. So right now, there's only a handful of standard ones, and no, you can add as many as you want. But right now, we could do ski injuries, right, as a practice area. But you can only remove the ones that you add right now. We haven't been getting a lot of feedback to remove them. It certainly wouldn't be a big deal to do it. So yeah, if that's something you'd like to see, let us know.
Okay. Will there be a client-facing portal with password access? I think this kind of still goes back to something you've already said, but it's asked in a different way.
Yeah, so certainly I will answer it in a different way. One of the beauties of Watchdocs is that it gives clients the portal access in a really simple way. The verification is handled securely through a key that is transmitted securely in the first email that they get. And once they use it, nobody else can use it. And so you don't have to force them to make an account on the portal. It's done for them securely. And again, in that demo on December 5th, we'll be able to show that to you so you understand a little bit better. But yes, it is absolutely secure. It is highly controlled. And if you choose to, you can also make it username and password protected. But it has this feature where the key is actually transmitted to the client, so they don't have to go through that hassle. We'll show it both ways on December 5th.
Okay. There's another question here that says, will I be able to send an email to a client directly from Firm Manager, or will I have to go elsewhere to do that?
Right now, you have to go elsewhere to do that. We don't believe, at least right now, from the feedback that we've gotten from our users, that people want a new email engine. People are happy with the email engines that they're using. So our focus has been on enabling the ability to have those emails that you send from whatever you use today and receive in whatever you use today, and have those automatically pulled into Firm Manager as well. If we hear otherwise, we can certainly adjust, but that's what we've been hearing so far from folks, is that they want to keep using what they're using. They just want the stuff to be in Firm Manager instantly and easily. So that's the way we've been working on it.
Okay, there's a question here that says, if I outgrow this product, what would the next product be in the Lexis succession?
Well, hopefully Firm Manager will grow with you. We certainly have plans over the next year to introduce new and better features for Firm Manager. But at some point, as we do that, we won't deliver all of those features into this version that was built for solos and duos. There will be some features like privacy, some features like partner compensation, and various things that we can imagine that we're going to be building that are appropriate for solo and duo law firms and would unnecessarily clutter up and overcomplicate the Firm Manager for solos and duos product. So you can certainly expect that a lot of features for Firm Manager will start to come out in different versions or flavors of Firm Manager that will be more advanced. So certainly, as you outgrow Firm Manager, I hope to grow Firm Manager with you. But if we don't grow fast enough, we certainly have our Time Matters and PC Law products and Juris available as well, and we'll facilitate moving upwards into those.
There's a question here that says, are there plans for document viewing and editing?
Yes, and Watchdocs, again, come to the Watchdocs presentation. Using the Watchdocs implementation, particularly when we integrate it with Firm Manager, will give online editing and viewing of documents.
Okay, great. And you know what? I think that we have gone through. Oh, wait, there's one last one here. Is Firm Manager customizable in any way?
Yes, you can make the screen this size. Just tongue-in-cheek. Firm Manager right now is not customizable other than, well, you know what, I shouldn't say.
It's called configurable, right?
Yeah, it's certainly configurable. You can add practice areas. You can add contact groups. You can add document categories. You can now, brand new capability, you can add billing codes and delete billing codes. So you can configure it in all of those ways. We are going to be adding custom fields and intake forms early on in 2014 as our first level of customization of Firm Manager. But we won't be introducing a whole lot of customization. That's the kind of thing you can probably expect to see in a more advanced version of Firm Manager.
Great. Well, I don't think that we have any more questions here, unless there are some folks there that would like to type in any new questions. We appreciate you coming to today's event, and we'll make sure that we post some of these more common questions up on our community as well, and then you'll be receiving an email. Please make sure that you fill out the short survey that you get when you exit the actual event that you're currently at and GoToMeeting, because there's some questions that we have there that are really important for us to get feedback from you on, especially around what we can do in the future here around these types of events. And we'll be also sending you a link to sign up for the Watchdogs webinar, which is scheduled for next Thursday, currently at 2 o'clock. So thank you so much for all of your time.
Yeah, I certainly look forward to that. I think everybody on this call should be excited about the Watchdogs thing. It's great capabilities. Thank you all again. This is Thanksgiving week. I really appreciate how many people have turned out to attend this webinar. Super excited about it. Look forward to the next sneak peek coming soon.
Thank you so much.